Hey guys, so we are having some internet issues during class, so I'm just going to go ahead and make a video for these next couple pages for the interactive notebook. So first thing, Praxis Core is the test that you will take getting into an education program. So at USC Upstate specifically, the department chair says he would like for incoming students to have passed Praxis Core by the time they get to Upstate. So what that means is that you not only need to have taken the test, but you need to have passed it before they'll let you in the program. Now, I have heard of some students that they will let them in and then like on the condition that they pass. So this whole class is going to be focused mainly on what to expect on Praxis and how can you prepare for the best. There are three parts. So think about your SAT type ACT standardized questions. The three parts are reading, writing, and math. We don't focus a ton of time on reading because the majority of students pass it on the first attempt. Now, that doesn't mean don't study for it. It just means, in my opinion, writing and math are more important. Writing is going to be at the very end of the semester, and then the majority of our class is going to be spent on the math because that's what most students struggle with coming into Praxis Core. So just a little overview. I'm on page 11 of my interactive notebook. If you don't have these pages cut and glued, go ahead and pause the video and make your page 11 look similar to mine. All right, so now on page 11, reading, if you want to take just the reading test, the test code is 5713. You don't have to, but if you want that, there you can see the concepts that it tests. Specifically, the number of questions, you will have 56 multiple choice questions on the reading test. And it is timed 85 minutes. Okay, so you have 85 minutes to do the 56 questions. There is a lot of reading, and you're looking to like pull out main ideas, synonyms, the structure of it, that kind of stuff. And then here is the score that you need to be considered passing for South Carolina, a 156. Writing, there's two pieces. There's a multiple choice part, which is 40 multiple choice questions, and then there are two essays. Their essays, we will talk very specifically at the end of the semester. You've got an argumentative essay and a source-based essay, and then you've got some multiple choice on your typical grammar type things. Time-wise, you get 40 minutes to answer those 40 multiple choice questions, so it's a lot quicker than the reading because you're not having to read passages and short stories. And then you also get two 30-minute sessions for each essay. So for the source-based and for the argumentative, you get 30 minutes each for those. That's not a lot of time to write an essay, but we'll talk about how to handle that. And then math, where we're going to start for EDU 102. Math, you have 56 multiple choice questions, mostly multiple choice. And then there are some short answer where you'll like type in the number 5 or 1/2 or whatever. And then that is going to be a 90-minute test. And I forgot to mention, but you can see over here, here are your passing scores for South Carolina. And then if you are looking to take all the tests at the same time, you can do the combined test. The code is 5752. And then there's the links to figure out how to sign up to take the test and where to register to actually pay and reserve your spot. Something to note, right now in the fall of 2023, they are still, as of last week, we're still offering the at-home version. You do have to qualify because of the COVID numbers. I guess they have left that as an option since 2020. I don't know what the qualifications are, but there is an at-home option for Praxis as well. The traditional way is you go to a testing center and take it on a computer there, but like I said, at least right now in the beginning of the fall semester, there is a at-home version still available. All right, so let's look at this next page. So an overview of specifically just math. I'm not going to read that to you, but I would like to point out down here. Here is the breakdown. Number and quantity, which is what we're starting today, is about 20% of the test. Data interpretation and then statistics and probability is about 32%. And then they have combined algebra and geometry to be 32%. We're going to break down all of those parts. I separate out algebra and geometry, but we're going to break down all of those parts throughout the next couple weeks in this class. And then there you can just see some more information about the praxis. Something I do want to mention, you do have an on-screen calculator. So the on-screen calculator will look just like this. This is actually a screenshot of their on-screen calculator. And a couple of things I want to note to you. This button over here on the left is the negative. So if you want a negative number, you'll use that button. And then also you've got your, oops, that's not what I wanted. You've got your parentheses up here. Now, the rest of that looks pretty standard to your calculator that you've seen before, but just kind of keep that in mind. Get some practice using an on-screen calculator. There is one built into your test in HonorLock, so you'll get that practice over and over and over again. All right, there we go. So, page 13, classifying numbers. Several different types of numbers, but notice how all of these numbers are within the circles of each other. So classifying numbers, way in the center, we have what are called counting numbers. So go all the way in the center. Counting numbers are going to be those numbers that when little ones first start learning to count, they do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Those are going to be our counting numbers. No decimals, no fractions, no negative numbers. These are also sometimes called natural numbers. Whole numbers are going to be one out from that. Whole numbers are very similar to counting numbers, except they include 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So here's where we can first see it. The number 2 is a whole number, but more specifically, the innermost circle, it is a counting number. The big difference between whole numbers and counting numbers is that number 0. All right, moving out another tier, we've got our integers. These are going to be the numbers on a number line. So these are going to be my positive and negative numbers. Notice I still don't have any decimals or fractions, but now I'm introducing negative numbers. So counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. Whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. Integers, I still have all those others, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. But I also have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, and etc. And then one tier out, my rational numbers. These are any numbers that can be written as a ratio, which means can be written as a fraction. And so written as a fraction, they could already be as a fraction, like 1/2. But they also could be 0.5. That's not a fraction, but I could write 0.5 as a fraction of 1/2. Or they could be repeating decimals, which we'll learn in Math 212 how I can write that as a fraction. Or they could be what we call terminating decimals. So it's either written as a fraction, but also things that can be written as a fraction. Let's squeeze this over here. These are my terminating, which means they stop, and repeating decimals. All right, so what I want you to do now, I want you to take these numbers on the right and sort them into the appropriate category. We're going to do two together, and then this video is going to end, and you can check them in the next video. So let's first look at 0 over 8. All right, so the number 0 over 8, that is not simplified. I can simplify with my calculator, or think back to your algebra days. Any number divided by any 0 divided by any number, so if I've got a 0 on top, is okay. It equals 0. And you would get that if you typed in 0 divided by 8 in your calculator. And we said 0 most especially is in the whole number category. And so I would write that in the box that is whole numbers. All right, let's look at 9 over 3. Now, some students look at 9 over 3 and they say, oh, that's a fraction, it must be irrational. Reduce it first. 9 over 3 is 3, and that is an example of a counting number. And so we're going to write 9 over 3 here in the counting numbers. So what I want you to do is try the rest of these, and then you can check in the next video with your answer.